All of our productions at GCTV are sponsored in part by Bay State Health, providing the care you and your family need when you need it close to home. Visit them online at baystatehealth.org. Greenfield Savings Bank. Visit them at 400 Main Street in Greenfield. Call them at 774-3191 or go online to greenfieldsavings.com. Greenfield Community College, providing access and excellence in higher education in the Pioneer Valley. Visit them at gcc.mass.edu. The Hammond Family. The Hammond family are longtime supporters of Greenfield Community Television. New Fortune Chinese Restaurant on the Mohawk Trail in Greenfield. Visit them online at newfortunema.com. Call them at 772-0838 and check them out on Facebook. Real Cleaning Services, cleaning Hampshire and Franklin County since 1972. We don't cut corners, we clean them. Check them out online at realclean.com. Call them at 413-422-1143. People's United Bank, located at 45 Federal Street in Greenfield. You can call them at 774-3713 or visit them online at peoples.com. The Solar Store of Greenfield, replacing fossil fuels and nuclear power one home at a time. Visit them at 23 Fisk Ave. Call them at 413-772-3122 or visit them online at solarstoreofgreenfield.com. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting all of GCTV's productions.
Thank you for being here. This is a packed house, which is really exciting, and I know it has to do with the amazing programming that we have this morning, so thank you for being here. Before we get started on the normal announcements, I want to bring up Amy Shapiro from the Franklin County CDC for a very special announcement.
We're doing this together. All right. Hi, everybody. We are excited to tell you who will be honored for the 2019 Entrepreneur of the Year. But we thought we'd give you a few hints first. Build up the suspense a little bit. See if you can figure it out. It's only, what, 8:10 in the morning?
Yeah.
So this business started 12 years ago in a building that's 120 years old. They've grown to 35 employees. They're known for giving back to the community. But what you don't know is all the generous benefits they provide to their employees. Any ideas? When we asked the owner, what would their children say about the business? They quickly replied, well, I'm the chef. So please, any ideas? I mean, pretty obvious, huh? We are very excited to celebrate the 2019 Entrepreneur of the Year, the owners, the team of Hope and Olive, Jim May. To join us on May 9th at Hawks and Reed. Doors open at 5, program starts at 6, but you can come and enjoy a Franklin No. 9 drink, specially crafted by Jim for the celebration. Yeah. What? No, you can have as many. You might have to figure out. So thank you and join us, and we hope to see you on May 9th. There'll be cards at the back of the table to take to remind you to join us. John's got them back there. Thank you.
At this time, I am delighted to introduce our moderator for today's panel, Lori Millman of the Center for New Americans. Lori started her career in the wine business in New York, but quickly decided that she was interested in nonprofit work. She has spent the last 25 years working for organizations devoted to education and access. She speaks Spanish and French and loves to dance, bike, and bake bread.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for welcoming me and us, and thank you for coming out in such great numbers for this really important conversation. So, Center for New Americans, who are we? Let's see if this is on now. Whoops. It doesn't seem to want to go. All right. We're a very small group of people. Just 2 of us are full-time. Most are part-time teachers and advisors. And we work in 4 different program locations. We have a site here in Greenfield, co-located with Community Action. We have a site in Turners Falls, where we offer programming at night. And we have a site in Amherst in the Banks Community Center, right upstairs from the Lusanti Health Center. And we have a site in Northampton. So we're in 4 different locations in Hampshire and Franklin County, and we serve people who come to us from all over the place. From Hamden, from all different towns in Franklin County. We even have people who come down from Vermont with rides. And what do? We teach English, first and foremost. We teach free English classes. Without English, anyone who is a newcomer here can tell you, you are completely locked out. Just imagine yourself trying to make an appointment with a doctor or get a bank account if you cannot speak the language and you find yourself in a place where you don't have the language or the culture. So we also offer immigration legal services. We help people become citizens. We help people get green cards. And we offer all kinds of advising, career and education advising. Pardon me, but I'm using a remote that was given to me, and I'm not that familiar with it, and it doesn't seem to want to cooperate. Okay, so why is immigration important in Massachusetts? If you read the needs assessment put out by Community Action or the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission statistics, you know that the only population growth in Massachusetts now and for the last few years has been from immigrants. Without an influx of immigration in this state, the population declines. And why does that matter? Oops. Yeah, it matters on many levels, but certainly congressional representation. If we lose population, we lose representation in Congress. And if you own a business and you're trying to fill vacancies, you need people of working age. And our population is aging. The immigrant population tends to be younger and of working age. Immigrants are helping to drive the economy in Western Mass. So we help to prepare people for the workforce. And that picture there is a picture of our direct care worker class that graduated in the fall. And those students are now learning how to be certified nurse aides. And they are also dual enrolled in our English classes, which we offer, as I said, in Amherst, in Greenfield, in Turners Falls, and in Northampton. We also teach civics, and we don't just teach it, we actually let students experience it. So the pictures you see are Senator Joe Comerford, who came and visited classes, and we brought students in from all of our different sites to meet with her, and Representative Paul Mark, who came to our Greenfield class And of course, the students researched, they visited the representatives' websites and looked at the issues that they stand for, and then talked about what was important to them, and then peppered them with questions. Both of them left with rather long to-do lists, which they were quite gracious about. Julie, I may need your help with this. Oh, okay. Okay. So the healthcare certification, as I have indicated, is one of the programs that we're most proud of. We have a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to train people for careers in healthcare. And as you probably know, this is a very big field in Massachusetts. People who own home health agencies and nursing homes are literally knocking on our door almost every day. You have any candidates? You have anybody? You have anybody now? So there is a need for people, and it turns out that many of the people that we serve come from countries where caregiving is just a very natural part of the culture. So I think 29% of the direct care workers in Boston, for instance, are from Haiti. And several of our Haitian students were nurses in Haiti and are now working with us to re-credential. So we tend to serve people for whom this is just, they have an experience, they have a history of caregiving, they want to do this work, and all that's standing between them and doing this work and filling these very critical vacancies in our community are the ability to speak English proficiently and to re-credential. And so we are teaching direct care worker and certified nurse aide classes. We also do a lot of work with technology. We teach technology in our classes, and we also teach English online. So for students who cannot get to our classes for childcare or transportation issues, we have supported online learning. We do ServSafe training on occasion when we have the funding. And the picture on the left is a picture where we visited the Franklin County Community CDC. We do an awful lot of work in the community. We help connect people to resources. And the woman standing right here may be known to many people. Her name is Asma. She's from Egypt. She's a phenomenal cook. She attends our classes in English here, and she sat for her ServSafe exam 3 times before she passed it. Just imagine yourself going to China and taking an exam in a language that is not your own on a computer that is timed with vocabulary that is quite technical. But our students are nothing if not determined. She passed the exam. She caters. You should get her card. She's amazing. None of what we do happens without connections to local partners. As I said, we're a small organization, but we recognize that we have a very talented community. So we work in close partnership with the Workforce Board and the Career Center to organize career fairs so that our students can interview for jobs and find all potential employers sitting in one room. We visited Greenfield Community College. The new president, Eve, welcomed us, told us, don't you dare come to the college without meeting with me. So we took her up on that. When you make an offer to us, you really should be careful because we accept them all. We actually brought 2 different classes, one on a Monday morning. This is Monday morning meeting with Eve, and then we came back with the evening group Tuesday night. So it was the first thing in the morning and the last thing at night. And we brought all of our students, and our students were just knocked out because many of them really do want to go to college. But it doesn't seem like you can get there from here. You know, there's the language, there's the transportation, there are so many challenges. And so we hardly ever refer people, we accompany. And so we reach out to people in the community, whether it's the CDC or the Career Center or the college, and we work together, and that's how it works. So our alumni, as I said, earn degrees through Greenfield Community College. We actually have 2 of our students now who went through our certified nurse aide program who are enrolled for credit in the college. So we make these pathways and these stepping stones. As they said, they work as home health aides in nursing homes. We have someone working now at Charlene Manor. We have 2 people working at Buckley Nursing Home. We have a student, an alum working at Bay State Franklin. And as I said, they work in food service and manufacturing. We've worked with GCC to get people through the foundational manufacturing program. And we have people who are earning a living wage and better, and filling jobs that are much needed to keep important industries here in this community. And of course, as everybody knows, because we're going to recognize local business people, that immigrants are by nature entrepreneurial, right? What does it take to actually leave everything you know and come to someplace new? It takes courage, it takes a sense of adventure, it takes a willingness to venture into the unknown. So immigrants are by nature entrepreneurial, and many of our students and alumni have started businesses that enrich our community. Our students and alumni achieve their goals. Maricela on the right, many of you may know her. She's painted murals all over Greenfield. This is when she finally got her driver's license, and now she's working on her citizenship. And of course, we do a citizenship ceremony every year in Northampton, which many of you have supported, and we're really grateful for it. So what challenges do we face and do our students face? We serve a lot of people who have been professionals in their home country. It is really hard to ask a PhD professor from Iraq to start as a certified nurse aide. It's really hard that we have not come together to figure out how to help people re-credential in ways that aren't really onerous. It's something we have talked about working on together. We need to look at that. People come and they have skills and experience, and we need to figure out how to recognize that in a better way. Also, there are times we've found when people hear an accent in English, and they can't always see through to transferable skills. And so we work together with employers to try and help them recognize that sometimes the challenge with English is not necessarily a misunderstanding of the job at hand. And so it's a situation where Center for New Americans and employers work together. We've done this very successfully with Cooley Dickinson, where we have a very willing partner, and when we know that we have a candidate who can do the job, we work together. We start like this and we do it until we come together. Transportation, I don't need to tell you this, but I'm just going to say it because we know that the Franklin County Council of Government is working really hard on this with our legislators. If we can come up with creative solutions in a rural area, transportation needs to work to help us get people to work. So our students are nothing if not persistent. It is not easy to be standing there and taking that oath of allegiance as a new citizen. People who do this have worked long and hard to do it with help from organizations like ours, with help from volunteers who help to coach them, and they become participating members of our community and voters. And we are grateful for the funding support of the Department of Education, the Beat Family Foundation right here in Greenfield, the Community Foundation, and many other partners, including the United Way, and for all of the volunteers who and donors who help to make our work possible. So thank you for listening, and it is my privilege to introduce again Abbas Sekunjanian from Terasa Restaurantes.
Should have gone before you did. Now you made me emotional about it. I was having the stress. I'm going to talk in front of all of you, even though I go around table to table and talk to everybody. I never done this before, so I really welcome you to Terasa and Country Club of Greenfield. Very much appreciate your support over the years. You know, each one of you as regular customers, and some of you as friends as well, but all of you are friends. I treat this restaurant like my house. So, and I always tell my employees, any person that chooses to come here, it comes to our house. We want to make sure that they're welcome, they're served properly, and they know that we do recognize when they patronize the restaurant. I came from little country of Montenegro, which is a former Yugoslavia. As many of you know, Yugoslavia had 6 republics, and it was torn by a war in Bosnia in 1992. I was, so 1992, I was 11 years old probably. So I came in the United States in 1998, and that's when the second war started in Kosovo. I knew about America from the movies. My uncles, I have a lot of family here. Now we're about 1,500 cousins and 26 restaurants so far. So, please name Immigrants Invading America. So, like I say, when I came to the United States, some of the new immigrants there, they come regularly on regular visa. They do get some opportunities of education and stuff like that. When I came to the United States, for us it was very difficult to come in a regular way. I went for a visa, they rejected you many times, even though you're 15-year-old. You're asked to go to military, and you ask yourself, what are you going to do? Who are you going to shoot? Is it people that you know because the government is telling you to do it? So I chose to come to America illegal way. It wasn't easy. It was about 18-hour flight to Brazil, and from Brazil to Caracas I think that's in Venezuela, yeah. And then from there I came to Miami Airport. From Miami Airport you come to, drove 5 of us in a little teeny tiny Honda in New York City. Leave one person off to their house, leave another one, and then we end up in Connecticut. That's where my family is located. So from there, 4 days later, with no English and stuff like that, the only opportunity you had was a dishwasher. So from there, my cousin owned the restaurant up in upstate New York, Roses Point, New York, which is right on the border of Canada. Illegal, no documents on the border of Canada. Immigration is right all the time in the restaurant. So when I would go on the gas station, I drove for a little bit, I learned to drive a little bit, and I would go, if I see immigration, I would go around the gas station. I'm like, well, if I go there, they don't think I'm illegal. Because if I don't go there, they might pull me over, which that happens a lot near the borders and stuff like that. So I worked there for about 6 months for my cousin. It was a great experience. And first of all, when my dad and I came 2 years before I did in the United States, because I had 2 other brothers and 1 sister here, so they came to support them. They overstayed their visa, and they wanted me to come over. So me and my brother were left over in Montenegro. So, like I say again, I was 17 when I came here. And the first thing my dad came to me is, Baz, make sure when you work, that when you pass by those tables, there is a wind behind you, that they feel your energy, that you're working. So make sure you work hard. And that's what I did. So I ended up in the kitchen, so I couldn't pass by the tables. So I make sure when I clean the kitchen tables, I do it so fast. There I worked for about 6 months. I developed skin allergy, from which I never had before in Yugoslavia, in Montenegro. I developed the skin and soap allergies, as any one of you that works in the kitchen. Bleach, allergy to bleaches, allergy to energy. So completely from a very healthy to a very allergic person, from soap and different chemicals. At one point, all of this was all in rashes. My neck, everything was in rashes because of those allergies. So I left that job and went to Connecticut, 6 months with no job, trying to heal. Another thing was left over, another dishwashing position. So I went into another restaurant and worked there for maybe a half a year, and again, developed allergies. I was a decent employee where at one night, the restaurant where I was working, it was only 2 dishwashers, and we would do 600 dinners on Friday and 600 dinners on Saturday. 1 on a machine, 1 on a sink. And at one night, I had chef, I didn't even know what he was talking about. He was sitting just behind the line and said, oh my God, oh my God. So he went, somehow got the bosses, and they were just looking at me at the speed of work. alone on the dishwashing machine and no dishes, just flying, because my dad said so. So to me, there was a day where there was not a lot of work after a lunch hour. I would everything clean, sinks clean, machine clean, nothing to do at the moment. And as the owner was passing by, it's like, boss, work? I said, yeah, finish, everything looks, good. And he said, oh, come on. And so he took a steak knife and he showed me under the dishwashing machine that you crawl and clean the pipe. Perfectly fine. I did it with promise. And I said to my head, it's a learning process. And it's just a learning process, so stay patient. So after that, one of my cousins was opening a restaurant up in Portland, Connecticut, golf course. He said, do you want to be a bus person? Because, hey, you look skinny, you have a style. So I said, okay, let's give it a try. So no English, and so I accepted the job, and that's where I started learning some of the English, and I'm still learning English though, after almost 21 years. So I worked there for, again, almost half a year, and then after that, one of my uncles was opening a restaurant. He asked me to be a head waiter. There was a process in between. After I left the restaurant where I did 600 dinners, I went to learn about banquets down in Connecticut, in Chisano's restaurant. So it was about a little bit over an hour drive from where I was to where I get. Still no license. Yes. So I went there in Chisano's restaurant. Very appreciative, to that family. So, restaurant is all about family. Worked there, again, seafood allergies, different kind of allergies. Couldn't touch the raw meat, raw food, even a tomato, because skin breaks down. So I worked there for a few months, became, prep cook for the banquets and stuff like that, but I had to leave the industry. That's where I went to the cousin, and I was a bus person. After I was a bus person, my uncle was opening a restaurant, asked me to be a head waiter. I said, and I knew my job way more than any service did after that. But I felt in my heart that I was not ready completely with English. And he said, boss, just go and laugh and do your job. So they ask you something, just smile. So that's what I did. So learning process again. I worked for my uncle for about a year, and one day we were talking with my brother. He's a really excellent chef, two of my brothers. And I said, they're older than me. I said, boys, you know what to do. You know how to be a chef. You know how to be a chef. Like, what are we waiting? It's like, you got money? I said, no, but we can ask for some. So Sandri's owned the restaurant up here in Berniston, former Andiamo and Bellanote. And so when they asked my cousin originally, because they were located in the golf course, we have this place, anybody wants to take it over. So he didn't want to come, it's too far. We got nothing to lose. Sandwich didn't need much money for us to start a restaurant. We took over. And boy, one of the first experiences is a chamber breakfast. Does anybody deal with Ann Hamilton? Beautiful Ann. She taught me a lot about breakfast. We never did breakfast before. And, we had about 140 people that day, and one coffee lane, and we didn't have a 2 waits of a buffet. So somehow my brother is like, why do you do breakfast? I don't do this. Like if they want eggs, they can go to the diner over there and turn the sauce. But that's the kitchen stuff that you always laugh with your family. So somehow we pulled it off, we did it, and from that point, everything I know today is learning experience from you, the people, the customers, the people who open their arms and welcome us into the area. It's supposed to be for us, a couple of years, try out, and then move on back to the family in Connecticut. Well, for me, it was different. I fell in love with Greenfield. Greenfield and Berniston, where I live, it's exactly as the area where I came from. Has 4 different seasons. The ocean is not too far, and I just fell in love. So this is where I started my life, built my family. We did Bellanote for about 12 and a half years, and as you know, the year 2008, 2009, the economy crashed. We were about on our way to crash too. So what do you got? Equity. Equity in the house. There's two things. You either choose to close the doors and leave, or you give it another try. So I said to myself, this area has offered me a lot, and I'm not leaving it that easy without the last try. So we did. I took the equity on my house, put some money into the business. Thank God, 2009 until 2012 was the best years in business that we ever had. My fears of coming out of Bellanote was like, how much money am I going to owe to people? I mean, different companies and stuff like that, vendors. When we left Bellanote, we owed zero to any person, any company and stuff like that, which was the most biggest proud. That was the most biggest and proudest moment of my life, that you come clean-faced, and that's all my life, to be clean-faced in front of people and to appreciate, and you can look anybody in the eyes and say thank you for what you did for me, as a customer, or as a friend, or as a bank, or as a vendor, or as anybody that has touched our lives. So when I decided to close Bellanote in 2013, I gave a year notice to my employees, my customers, and everybody else. We close in next year because we're in a good standings. We don't owe money. I didn't know that there was another restaurant, another opportunity coming at all. But when we started in 2001, I met Tim Farrell and became friends with him. And he said we were involved with the country club. We do have a great vendor at the time, but if every time comes, we'll keep you in mind. So I didn't even think about Tim Farrell that time. I never actually passed the country club road, never came here. Because I was just busy at the restaurant. So actually this today, it completes 22nd day of 396 hours of work for me. Because we took on another restaurant up in Brattleboro Country Club, me and my brother. So I've been working straight, 7 days a week, minimum of 18 hours. So this ended up half a year into it, we ended up taking Terraza. Terraza was completed, beautiful, nice restaurant, needed a few things to be done, and we did it. We went to our banks, they give us money, and we very much appreciated that. Again, we paid the loans back to them. Challenging industry in the restaurant is as Jim will know, it's rising cost of food, rising cost of insurances, rising cost of employment, but I do support the rising cost of minimum wage because we need a decent living. I went through it, and everybody needs a decent living. So as for my employees, I always pay them at least $1 or $1.50 an hour more than the minimum wage, just to show the appreciation of what they do for us. Because individual person can have a good idea of what they need to do in life, but if individual person cannot implement their ideas if they do not have support of people that they hire, support of people that they want to come in. So from my employees to you, I really appreciate for everything, and who we are today is your responsibility. It's you that made us who we are today. And that's how I live my life. I always try to thank you and to be appreciative of what people did for us. Chamber has done a great job for us. Like I say, from Ann Hamilton of supporting us over the years, now Diane, and I really do appreciate for this recognition, even though I don't ask for it. But I do appreciate it. And like I say, the challenges for the restaurant industry today, all those rising costs is another thing is lack of employment, lack of quality staff that wants to work and stuff like that. I don't ask anybody to dedicate me 18 hours a day, but at least one good shift, put it up. So in restaurants, as you probably know, you have people that want to work 18 hours, and that's too much for them. For me, 40 hours is like a joke. So that's the biggest challenges, the rising costs and employment issues. I mean, I've been blessed thanks to the local people and thanks to the immigration. Immigration has really done a great job for us, and by allowing people to come onto J1 visas and work, and then they leave on the end of the season, so you don't have that expense. But even though with that, I can tell you that with all the employment rise cost, I did not take any paycheck that more than $900 a week for the last 8 months. But I did never left the person and tell him you go home because it's slow today. I always left my employees to choose if they want to go home, if it's slow for them, if they feel like they want to go home, in terms of the service industry. So I do support every growth that we need, and we need more growth. We need more good restaurants in town. We need more people to come to visit Greenfield and to support the area. Like I say, I don't take another restaurant as my challenge. Another restaurant helps me to rise to be better and better productive and to give better quality food, so that way people do recognize that. People support here once a week, they go to Hope and Olive in all the local places, and that's the real community should be built. Bring it on, bring more people. Like I say, Main Street, Greenfield should be a street of restaurants and cafes. Another street of different quality businesses, which I support. You know, anything that people need to walk the Main Street. And I always, Mayor Martin always listen and try some things, and I do appreciate his support as well. Middletown, Connecticut was a very city that was back in a few years was very high on drugs and different areas. Very few restaurants there. Today, that strip of Main Street in Middletown, Connecticut has 65 restaurants between cafes and restaurants and different stores and stuff like that. Because of open-minded community and open-minded people that we need to invest in a community. I mean, I do try to make an investment on Main Street, but it's taking a while. Because, again, that immigrant not understanding all the calculations, you're only short about $100,000+, which banks did give it to us. So like I say, everything else, not much to say, but I do appreciate everything. I do appreciate it for this opportunity to the Chamber and to you, the customers that have supported us and supporting over the years. So thank you very much.
One thing that you were very honest about, something that people don't talk about, which is that there are a lot of people here without documents, working in restaurants and on farms. Without those people, those jobs are not filled. So thank you for being honest about that. Well, you please welcome Ian Bren, owner of Pioneer Garden.
Thank you, Lori. It's good to be here. My name is indeed well pronounced, Arjen Brandt. I am from the Netherlands. I came to the United States way back in 1988. I was not even 20 years old at the time. Why did I come here? I followed a horticultural class. It's not even a bachelor degree, a 3-year college education. The second year, I went for an internship in the West Coast. This was a 7-week internship. I really fell in love with the United States. Went back to Holland. In Holland, I was kind of a lost soul. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I did not like college at all. I was very disagreeable with my professors and teachers. At the other hand, I didn't know what I wanted to do instead as well, except I wanted to go back to the United States because I worked at an orchard and some other farms, and I really enjoyed it. What I did, with the encouragement of my mother, and I still appreciate her of that, I saw an ad in the trade journal where a company was looking for a flower bulb salesperson in the United States. And she told me, you should write on that. I said, well, really, I'm 19, I have no experience, I don't speak English, I almost flunked high school because of English. So, all right, I'll write. Turned out I was the only applicant, there was nobody applying. and I was hired before I was actually interviewed. So it's been the only job interview I've ever been to. And my sales I came to the United States in '88. My sales territory was upstate New York. And the company that hired me had no customers there, no leads. And after 2 weeks of training, they gave me a car and a very tiny little income to just survive on. And they said, you know, go to upstate New York. I said, well, I figure that's from Connecticut, that's about, I'll just follow the signs north and then west, northwest. And I did know there was a town called Amsterdam. I figured that sounds familiar. I didn't know it wasn't quite like Amsterdam, but at least the apartments were very inexpensive, and that's where I initially started out. And I was told to find leads by going to payphone booths and grab the yellow pages and rip out the pages for nurseries and garden centers. And then you go to those garden centers and you sell flower bulbs. I kind of felt bad about ripping out pages and figured I'll started writing all those names down, which were a ton of them. And that's what I did. I drove to garden centers. So here I am. And I think I actually, to my surprise, actually, especially now it's surprising, after 2-3 years I wasn't sent back. I just sold barely enough for the company to keep me. Sometimes I feel like people just gave me a break. Says, well, this guy from Holland, I sell like flower bulbs, we'll buy a little bit from him. But after a little while we got better at it. I had a colleague in Connecticut who I actually knew from college, and after 3 or 4 years we figured, we know it all, we'll start our own business. and that's what we did. And with our savings at the time, we put all our savings together and bought 1 container of plants from the Netherlands, rented an acre of land, and that was in 1992. And that's how we started our farm. I did not realize that it would really, or didn't want to think about how that could jeopardize our visa status, because I had a visa for the company I worked for. I didn't have a green card. I could only work for them. The company I worked for was obviously not happy that we started our own farm. And also our savings were spent immediately. I did manage to hold on to my sales job, which paid the bills for another couple of years until I was finally fired. And started a 3-year non-compete, which we survived. I think our previous employer figured we wouldn't, but we survived by selling our product into Canada, which where our product, where the non-compete didn't apply to. And we did that for 3 years, and that non-compete ended in 1999. One of the biggest challenges for us really was our visa status. I turned out to be, my status was in jeopardy when I lost my sales job. Then I had to get a new visa for my new company. Well, that was very, very difficult. We didn't qualify for anything. I mean, you went to an attorney, he says, well, why don't you go get your master's degree and you may qualify for a visa. Or do you have $1 million and we may help you? I said, no. Or you have an Olympic gold medal? No. Or did you cross the waters from Cuba? No. Or can you marry an American? I said, no, I failed on that too. So we basically, I think I can say it that way, we were not needed enough and we were not needy enough. And as a result, there were a couple times that our status was in jeopardy. In the meantime, we had a very expensive but good attorney in New York City who kept us, our status intact. It took me about 16 years to get my green card. And another 10 years later, I applied for citizenship, which I got in 2015. It was one of my proudest moments. Mr. Shep was there to witness that.
Great day. America became a better day. That day.
Go, Chris.
Thank you. What does our business do? Pioneer Gardens. With my background initially as a flower bulb salesperson and also perennials, we saw a need or an opportunity rather to grow the product domestically rather than bring it in from the Netherlands. So we started in 1992 with 1 acre. In 1995, my business partner and I started doing this full time. Initially it was just Saturdays and Sundays. In 1999 we built our first greenhouse. That was the year our non-compete ended. From that point we started growing much faster. By 2011-12 we had about 60 acres of open field production and a 2-acre greenhouse and about 35 to 40 full-time employees. We've maintained that level for the past 6 or 8 years. Initially our business sold young starter plants, field grown roots or little plugs to growers, wholesale growers that size our plants up, make them look pretty with a nice picture tag, and they sell to retail garden centers. That was our initial business model. Our business changed over time, as a result of the marketplace changing, independent garden centers disappeared, with the extent of some of the larger, well-run operations that are still there. But the box stores really took a big chunk of the market. Right now, Home Depot and Lowe's have about, of perennial containers, about 70 or 80% of the marketplace. And we have gradually shifted as well. Now we supply much larger growers and fewer of them who supply the Home Depot or Lowe's. It's been a bit of a struggle, but we're finding our niche. We're growing a smaller selection and bigger numbers and have to become more efficient. And as some of you have known, the greenhouse that we have been operating for the past 10 years, it had become a little bit of obsolete. We needed a new greenhouse that was more efficient, a little bit smaller, and we really need to expand our field operations. And after working on it for about 3 years, we managed to sell our greenhouse to a cannabis producer. It's harvest, health, and recreation. I think it's great for Deerfield. It's a fantastic company. They're really investing in the greenhouse that we formerly owned. We'll hire new people, and I'm proud that we're part of bringing them in town or in the community. And we are using the proceeds to build another greenhouse and to expand our open field production. Our open field production is where our future is. It's really capital intensive. You plant a crop, it takes 2 years before you get a return. And it feels like a reset of our business. I've learned a lot over the past 30 years. You can kind of reset it, start over, and try to apply everything we know and do it right the second time around. That's how it feels. I also appreciate working with the Chamber. Our business is nationwide. We sell throughout the United States and to Canada. We really have no clients in Franklin County, but it's been great networking with the Chamber. I really support the Chamber supporting businesses in our community. It's been a mutually beneficial relationship. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Arya. And now E2 Shokin, the owner of Montague Dental Arts.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for everyone to come here. And I want to greet everybody like the way we greet in India, by folding my hands and saying namaste. That means I respect your time and I respect that you are here to hear my journey, my path from India to America. So I'm from India. I think everybody is well known about Indian culture, Indian food. And I am from a middle-class family, and we are 3 sisters and 1 brother. And my dad always believed in girl education. I think that is, I appreciate, because if he wouldn't have believed in girl education, I wouldn't be standing here feeling so proud and blessed and grateful. So I've done my schooling from a very, very convent education, and I always wanted to be like the #1 in my area where I was. So me and my sister, we both are very, very hardworking and compassionate, and we always wanted to be like the doctor. So whenever somebody is born in an Indian family, the girl is either going to be a doctor or a teacher, or the son is going to be a doctor or an engineer. So my dad had already planned so that she's going to be the doctor, she's going to be the doctor, she's going to be the doctor, and my son is going to be the engineer. Well, that didn't happen, so me and my sister we kept his dream, but the other 2 didn't. So I feel more proud that, I helped this guy achieve his dreams. But I truly wanted to become a dentist because my grandmother, I was very close to her. Even though I spent most of my time in a boarding school, I was in the boarding school from 5th to high school. So the little time that I spent with my grandma, she had only 3 teeth in her mouth, very pretty, very healthy, no diabetes, no blood pressure, very healthy lady. And she has only 3 teeth. And I would say, geez, how are you eating, Grandma? Nobody cared about her teeth. Nobody ever, I think, took her to the dentist, and I kept seeing, and so that motivated me that I want to be a dentist, I don't want to be a doctor. So that's how my journey to become a doctor, a dentist started. So I did my graduation, my dentistry from India, one of the very prestigious dental school. And when I did my schooling, I said I want to explore my opportunities, and my dad and my mom and my whole community was like, you can't, because nobody has ever thought that somebody, even like a girl, a normal girl, going to America all by herself. But my dad said, I'm like, can you give me a chance? If I fail, I come back, and if I don't, then I don't want to live with the regret. So he said yes. So after doing all the preparations, I landed in America in 2006. Not easy, but was worth it. I think I feel proud that I followed my dreams, and I think everybody should follow their dreams, because when you really put your dream out there in the universe helps to make it happen. It brings so many other people who help to make your journey your journey. So when I came here, I was already a dentist, but whenever you can be whatever in your country, here you are nothing. So, but I met really nice people. There was a dental office in California. It was owned by a Vietnamese dentist, and she let me volunteer and observe how dentistry is practiced in America. So I volunteered there for 6 months. I learned quite a bit, and in meantime, I kept clearing my dental boards. So after clearing my dental boards, getting good grades, so I applied to numerous dental schools in America. And finally, after so much struggle, so my favorite school was Boston University, because my best friend was studying there. And after hearing all the stories, I wanted to pray to God every single day that I want to go to Boston University. And Boston University has only 60 international dental seats, like only 60 international dentists can apply, will be selected, and they will start their journey to become dentists in USA. So after having 4,000 applicants and getting selected, I think I said, you know what, this is going to happen. And I was so happy that I was one of those 60 people to be selected, that they will start schooling here. Schooling is not easy, and especially when you are already a dentist, you know stuff already back then, but that is a little bit different because every country has their different standard of care. But in order to be a dentist here, you have to follow the US guidelines, which I believe, because medical doctors, they don't have to do intense school like the way we do as dental students. I feel it helps me to my communication skill, the way I will talk to the people, the way I want to connect with people. I want to have a little personal relationship with my patients. So everything I guess fell into places. After graduating in 2011, because when you have so much loan on your head and you don't want to go back and you want to start a living, I joined a dental practice in Springfield. I had a really great, people have numerous stories about their boss. I think I had the best boss ever. And in the history of their career, they never sent somebody chocolates and cards, and I was one of the very, very fortunate and lucky ones to get appreciated. So after working 4.5 years in their practice, I thought it's time to move on and I want to get my own place. The reason I wanted to be an owner is, first of all, I want a whole autonomy where my treatment is my treatment. I can customize according to me. Sometimes patients' financial ability is not great, they cannot afford, but they want the treatment. So if I'm the owner, I can waive off something, I can go extra mile, I can do everything that I want to do so my patient can achieve what if I'm an associate at another business, I can't. So when I wanted to establish my practice, I called some broker agency. Anything that I Googled came first. I called. Somebody who picked up my call was, I said, okay, I need a practice. But because of my contract, I couldn't open my practice within 20 miles of Springfield. So my best bet was Northampton, after Northampton. So this guy calls me and he's like, I found a really ideal practice for you, which is in a nice, quiet area, scenic. You'll like it, it'll fit you. And I said, okay, great. And I love driving, so I drove here one day and I met the doctor. The retired dentist was Dr. Kulkin. He's a really nice guy. He opened this practice from scratch, I think, and he has a very loyal base of patients. And I think one of my patients is here. I don't know where you are, but hi, Jack. So, and I saw the practice. I don't know, it felt that this is my practice and this is where I want to begin my career as an owner. And that's it. I said, okay, I think I'm ready. I don't want to see any more practices. This is what. And I packed my bags and I said, okay, before I start my new journey, I want to go back to India and start, spend some time with family. So when I came here, I walked in as a first day. I think the staff didn't have an idea that I'm about to, the practice is being sold. So I think they had a morning meeting and then they say, a new dentist or owner is coming. And the staff was like, okay. And as soon as I walked in, I think everybody was very nice. I feel very great because everybody stayed. I feel like, okay, you know what, everybody likes me. Of course, it's a transition. They have been loyal to the other dentists for so many years, but I'm glad they gave me an opportunity. My staff is here. They always have my back, and I think they have it today. I got my citizenship, so because I said, okay, I want to be a citizen. First of all, America is also known as a melting pot, which means it's like all the immigrants, they blend into this country. I feel it's such a great, this land is a land of opportunities. It welcomes everybody with open arms if you are ready to work hard. It gives you everything. I came with one small bag and I think I owe a lot to this country. So I'm glad I'm here, and I am a member of the Franklin Commerce Chambers, and I think I really want to give back to the community. I do live a little far away, so I can't attend, but I really want to be a part more because it helps me interact with the community I serve. I really want to connect something. I think people who are listening to me right now might feel a little connected to me. My struggle, I cannot go into each and every day, but I think it's hard when you are a girl coming from a third country here. But I do want to share one small funny, which was not funny incident at that time. As soon as I straight came from the airport, I took a taxi to the place I was going to. So this guy is from East Africa or something. He's the driver. And as soon as I sit there, I'm already heartbroken. I'm missing my family. And when you're trying to hold your tears, but you're trying to be strong and tough from outside. So that's what I was. And as soon as I sit in the car and he's like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, okay, great, I'm good. So my English is also not that great. And I'm like, okay, all I have to say is when he said, just smile. So that's all I knew, okay. Yeah, okay, good. And then he said, okay, I've heard so many things that Indian girls, you marry according to your culture, the arranged marriage, and you never have sex when you are single. I'm like, geez, please stop it. I just came here and then I'm like, okay, really, do I have to? And I started crying and I'm like, this is the last thing I want to answer right now. And he said, okay, sorry. And I'm like, okay. But it was, now I feel funny. But that time I was very, very, I can't do this. But then I called my parents, and I think everybody's so happy. And I think that's it. And I'm so happy to be here. And thank you so much.
Our productions at GCTV are sponsored in part by Bay State Health, providing the care you and your family need when you need it close to home. Visit them online at baystatehealth.org. Greenfield Savings Bank. Visit them at 400 Main Street in Greenfield. Call them at 774-3191 or go online to greenfieldsavings.com. Greenfield Community College, providing access and excellence in higher education in the Pioneer Valley. Visit them at gcc.mass.edu. The Hammond Family. The Hammond family are longtime supporters of Greenfield Community Television. New Fortune Chinese Restaurant on the Mohawk Trail in Greenfield. Visit them online at newfortunema.com. Call them at 772-0838 and check them out on Facebook. Real Cleaning Services, cleaning Hampshire and Franklin County since 1972. We don't cut corners, we clean them. Check them out online at realclean.com. Call them at 413-422-1143. People's United Bank, located at 45 Federal Street in Greenfield. You can call them at 774-3713 or visit them online at peoples.com. The Solar Store of Greenfield, replacing fossil fuels and nuclear power one home at a time. Visit them at 23 Fisk Ave. Call them at 413-772-3122 or visit them online at solarstoreofgreenfield.com. Thank you to our sponsors for supporting all of GCTV's productions.